All right, so let's take a look at some of the cards that we got from the pre-release. So in the pre-release, all it is basically you get a build a battle pack, and that comes with kind of like a few cards. I didn't count how many. I think it's probably like 20-ish or maybe 30 cards, or maybe those 40 cards. No, 30 cards. Whatever it was a number of cards. And then it comes with a promo in it. So I happen to get the Necrozma promo. And then you get also inside here is also 4 booster packs that you have to open those up, and you use those to build your pre-release deck that you have to play. You can't trade anything out after you've built it. You can't trade with anybody else as well. Though I'm not sure if the group of people who are there, who are all friends, there are like 6 of them. I don't know if they sent, who knew if they traded cards or not. Oh, you sent me an offer. Let me check real quick. Oh, cool. I'll take that. You only needed 1 Sigilyph? Did I get any GXs? No, I didn't. My son actually did. He got a Aerodactyl GX and a... What was the other team? Jazz, do you remember the tag team that he got? I don't remember the tag team he got. Oh, it's like was it an Alolan? Was it a Alolan? No. Alolan something, I think. But I got a blue... He pulled after the tournament, you get 3 packs, so he pulled that. All right, so let me start over real quick. I wanted to do a recording of it. All right, so hey, welcome guys to this edition of Guddonof Bulu Train. We're gonna take a look at what we got on Unified Minds. We played in the pre-release. I did the pre-release for the first time in like 20 years. I haven't been playing IRL in so long. I've been playing mostly online. You can find me on Guddonof on Twitch, just twitch.tv/Guddonof. I'll follow aboard on the Bulu Train. So we wanted to take a look at the cards that we got. We were playing in the pre-release this weekend. A few of the viewers and I got together and participated in a pre-release. So basically what you get is you get a Unified Minds box. Usually the entry price is $25. Some places will try to charge you like $30, like at Comic-Con. They had a pre-release event as well this weekend when I was there. And they wanted to charge $30 for everybody who was in there. And so, yeah, what you end up getting is you get a starter pack. It's a sealed bag that has the promo card and some staple like cards, base cards, some of the evolutionary chains that are useful, and also supporter cards. So that comes in with the promo card. I happen to get the Necrozma. There's 4 different promo cards that you can get from it that has the Unified Minds like stamp on it. And some of the cards that are promo cards I actually have in these decks as well. So there's basically one of almost every color, I think. Well, there's 4 of them, so you'll see that on the screen on the post edit here. But I wanted to just kind of go through the different cards that we had available. I ended up building a psychic fighting just because of the cards that I got. I had a Necrozma here, and I think I had a second Necrozma as well. So let me just separate these into just the different cards that I saw here, the trainer cards that we got, and we'll talk about those trainer cards. I probably should have separated these earlier just so I had the energies and stuff out. But the cool thing is that they give you all of the trainer cards and the energies, so you just have to build your deck with what the cards that you have. Whoops, these are colorless, and then you just have to supply and get your trainer cards put all together. My card deck, since I was kind of new at the whole format, I ended up battling the guy who won the tournament, and I battled him first, and he gave me a good advice for the deck, and he said just from the beginning, he was like, you have too many Pokemon in your deck. You really only need about 6 to 8 Pokemon that are kind of tight, tightly knit together in terms of what they do, and just kind of focus on that. And the rest just put all of the supporter cards really into your deck that you get. Make sure you have all the evolutionary chains that you need to build it, and then fill the rest with just energies. So I really don't need to show these cards. We'll take a look at them later, but they're not really important. I think really what the deck really is about is Marowak's. This was actually kind of a fun card to use. We'll talk about that. There's a lot of draw cards as well. So this is pretty much one of the promo cards that you would get is Necrozma. It's a basic psychic with 130 health, and its primary attack is really either the barrier attack. There's a lot of these as well in the tournament where it would reduce the damage they would take in the next turn from attacks. But this one's the cool one. Special laser. If your Pokemon has any special energies attached to it, this does actually 60 more damage. So you will do 160 damage for 3 of those psychics. So you can imagine if you had kind of a Malamar kind of speed function there to bring energies into it, you could do 160 damage pretty much every turn for a single prize dude. So it's actually pretty cool, especially, here's the kicker, with Recycle Energy. So Recycle Energy has a really cool aspect. It gives you a colorless energy. It's a special energy. And if this card is discarded from play, put it into your hand instead of the discard pile. So this could either be used, obviously, as a special energy for Necrozma, or you can use it to retreat a Pokemon. So let's say if there was a single retreat, let's say, for example, the Poipo was in the active, you could actually retreat with it, and it goes back to your hand. So it's almost like a free retreat for the Recycle Energy. So this keeps kind of shuffling back through to your hand again whenever it gets discarded. It doesn't say, when the Pokemon is knocked out, so it could be used technically in any aspect. So that's pretty cool. It's really useful there. Used pretty much in all the decks that we played, or at least I played against. So that was one of the key. This is one of the key cards that people had used to do the big damage. The other one was also with Alolan Marowak. So this one's has an interesting ability. So you can evolve it from Cubone. Oh, the other tip is if you happen to go psychic fighting, you don't have to worry about using any fighting energy technically. I actually didn't need to have all 4 Cubones in here. This one's actually, I want to talk about that one. I'll put this one aside. So the Cubone is a fighting energy, a fighting Pokemon that you'll just use the Growl mostly to just buy you time. It just takes less damage, so it survives at least until you can evolve it. But once you evolve it into the Marowak, here's where the cool combo comes in. If you can actually have it work, and it worked for me, like for the couple times. It actually worked for me in one of the matches where it actually won me the game. It got me the prize advantage on a luck draw, and I'll tell you what I mean by on a luck draw. So its ability, it's an Alolan, so you could use the ability without any energy attached to it. And it says discard the top card of your opponent's deck. If the card you discarded is a Pokemon, this attack does damage equal to that Pokemon's HP to your opponent's active Pokemon. So the cool combo with that you're able to do in this pre-release is getting a card like, for example, Chip Axe. Look at the top 3 cards and choose one of them, and you shuffle the rest of the cards back into their deck and put this card on top of their deck. Right, so basically you get to choose. So if you find a Pokemon in the top 3, you can move it to the top. So then you Spirit Smash it and basically do all the damage to it. So that's the Chip Axe. The other one is the Hiker. So there's a lot of cards that you don't typically use in the previous set. So this one lets you look at the top 5 cards in either player's deck and choose one of them, and then shuffle the other cards back into their deck. Right, so pretty much the same as aspect or same effect, except this one does 5, the other one will do 2, or do 3. So you use this to set, a card like Necrozma on top of the deck, and then you smash it, so then it deals this much damage to the opponent. And at the same time, for example, the opponent that I was playing with, I had a Necrozma out, in play as active, and he ended up moving. He found my Necrozma in the deck, put it on top, ended up smashing the Necrozma, which does 130 to the 130, knocking it out, and at the same time discarding this Necrozma to my deck. So I only had 2 Necrozmas in the deck, so in one turn for 0 energy, he was able to take out both Necrozmas from my deck like right away. So that was pretty powerful. So that became really OP, especially if you were able to get that kind of the first knockout. Since there's not much energy recovery in terms of like speed up. You can't really speed up the process in terms of getting energy onto your Pokemon. So the moment that one gets knocked out and you're behind, then you're pretty much screwed, because there's only 4 prize cards that are out there when you're playing it, because it's a 40 card deck. So you get that starter deck, you get the 4 packs in that box, and out of that 63 cards, you get to make a 40 card deck. And that includes the energy and all of the other things that come along, all the supporter cards and stuff like that. So those are these cards. The Heracross is actually pretty fun. You don't get to use it during the pre-release because not many people are playing a GX, but basically for a single colorless, you can, if it's a GX, if he's used a GX during their last turn, your opponent shuffles their active Pokemon and all the cards into their deck, so you can reset basically what they've done. I mean, not terribly useful, but maybe situationally. But here's the other one that everyone's going to be looking for. I think Master pulled a gold version of this one. It's a U-turn board. Basically, it is a skateboard that is, if it's ever discarded from play, so if it ever gets lost, gets removed or whatever, it comes back into your hand instead of the discard pile. So it's like an everlasting escape board. So that's pretty dope. So this one I think is going to be, highly sought after as well. Arduino, this was quite useful in the pre-release, and especially when you started. So if you happen to get it in your starting hand, you would put it in the active, so that you can use the hearing ability. And hearing allows for you, as long as it's in the active, you get to draw a card as the ability on top of anything else. So you can imagine, though, just like Jirachi, but Jirachi gets to search, right, for a trainer card. You could always U-turn board it on the Arduino so that you can always retreat back if you needed to for free. Or you can still use the recycle energy. You can always use the recycle energy on it to retreat for free. This goes back to your hand and you still get to draw a card. So sometimes what I found out is if the other person is trying to stall, or they're stuck with something that they can't retreat, the Arduino in the active just allows you for just constantly like drawing. So the name of the game too in this pre-release is like who can set up the fastest, who gets the non-dead draw, who gets the most kind of energy flow, so that you can keep putting energies on the different Pokemon even on your bench, so that when you knock out something, you can still two-shot things and stuff like that. So you're building up your bigger Pokemon like a Necrozma and like that on your bench. So drawing, and a lot of the supporter cards that I got at least were all about drawing. So like Bug Catcher, draw 2 cards, you flip a coin. If it's heads, you draw 2 more cards. And of course, you have the Kahili. You draw, same thing, you draw 2 cards, you flip a card. Flip a coin. If it's heads, this goes back to your hand. So there's a lot of bounce back to your hand as well, and you can replay it again next turn. But you have to be careful. If you keep getting this bounce back into your hand, you keep getting tempted to keep using it, and so you'll end up decking yourself out. It's only a 40 card deck, so you'll eventually just do it a few times, and you're like, oh my gosh, I only have like 10 cards left. Of course, you guys know the Pokemon communication. That's always helpful. And then there's different supporter cards. I saw the other group of people, they got Cynthia's. I got a Lily. I didn't get any Cynthia's, but they got Cynthia's, so I think that was a lot more helpful to just kind of reshuffle their hands, because you end up sitting and dead drawing on a bunch of either energy or things like that. So I had a Lily, which wasn't like super helpful. I had 2 Kahilis. Let's see, the coach trainer. Draw 2 cards. If your active Pokemon is a tag team, draw 2 more. So you get 4 cards for this coach trainer if you're playing a kind of a GX deck. Blue's Tactic, which was, I think, really helpful too. And everybody that I played this. It's almost like a poor man's Tropical Beach as a supporter. So the cool thing is you could play the supporter card, during your turn. You can do everything else until you have like 0 cards in your hand, and then you end your turn. At the end of your turn, you get to draw 8 cards. So it's kind of crazy. Yeah, the default cards, they're not the default. The default cards is random as well, though they kind of give you a base. There's draw supports. There's the energy, the special energy, I think, the recycle energy, the U-turn board. So they give, some of them are the same, but everybody has a little bit of flair difference. So I saw even somebody had a hustle belt. My son got like a choice band or something like that. So there's like a lot of different ones. So you kind of have to get lucky at the same time. But this one's really good. Of course, I got the full art version of it after the tournament. My son, out of his 3 packs, he pulled one of these. So he got all the luck this weekend. All right, so Poiple, that's nothing special. First Contact lets you search for up to 3 basic Pokemon and put them on your bench. So this is almost like a psychic version of a Alolan Ninetales for basic, at least. Why not? I almost said why nut! Exclamation point nut. It has an ability called Peppy Pick, and this actually is useful at times because there's a lot of turns where you're not really doing anything. You can't attack, you can't do anything. So this ability, even from the bench, lets you flip a coin. If it's heads, you get to choose a random card from your opponent's hand, and they have to reveal it and then shuffle it back into their deck. But then when you use it, your turn ends. So if you can't really do anything, you might as well use it to end your turn, and at the same time, you possibly can get one of his cards to get shuffled back in to kind of get an advantage. Sorry, not choice band. He had some other tool card. Future Sight. Look at the top 4 cards. Put them back in any order. So this one is a good setup if you could somehow, set it for the Alolan Smash. But that's a little bit harder to set up. So that was pretty much the deck that I used. And again, I would recommend what the guy who won the tournament, he was only running about 8 Pokemon, and I think it was mostly like the Necrozma, the Alolan Marowak, and just really getting those set up. So a lot of the draw supports was there, and then using like the Chip Axe or the Hiker to get the right card to the top. And speaking of that, it was pretty funny because I actually had a Marowak in play, but I didn't have any of the support cards to do the searches. But I was behind as well, and he had a Pokemon that was in the active. It was one of the grass Pokemons, and I got lucky that where I did the Spirit Smash, and I flipped over, and it took out his I think 160 HP Pokemon, which then dealt his Pokemon only had 120, I believe, and that took it out on that one shot, and that totally changed the match because he didn't have any bench Pokemon that had any energies attached to it yet. So that put me ahead, and I was able to kind of knock out 2 more before he took out 1. But by that time, I already had another Pokemon set up behind there on the bench. The Among Us Spore Barrow combo is good too. Yeah, that's the one. Is that the one that you were using there, Jazz? So that's not the cards that we're looking for. Where's that card? Oh yeah, it was. These are the other cards that were part of the pre-release here. I didn't use that one. There's the Dedenne. Draw cards so you have 6 cards in your hand. But there was not much fairy support in this. Electric, I didn't see much either. It was mostly grass, psychic, or psychic fighting. Was pretty much the sets that, or at least the colors that we saw. Opponent's confused. Switch this with your bench. Search your deck for electric energy. Attach it to this Pokemon. Shuffle your deck. This is I got a reverse Pikachu. Look at that Pikachu though. So cute on that art. Hey, look. Oh, you're watching the stream. Got a normal Pikachu, a Sableye. During your opponent's next turn, if your Pokemon is damaged by an attack, put 8 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. Shroomish. So that was a shroom. The fungus. So this one was pretty... I saw this in a few as well. That you go fungus. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now asleep. So that kind of buys you time so that you can set up the... What was it? There was another one too. I don't think I have it. Yeah, I didn't get the grass one. That's the one. That's the combo that Jasmine was talking about. I didn't use Delmies at all. Search your deck for a basic Pokemon, put in your bench. That's just a grass searcher. Yeah, we didn't go fire. Only had like 3 fire Pokemon. Once during your turn, you may switch your active tag team with one of your bench Pokemon. That's kind of interesting. I did get a reverse normal AMZ tackle. If this Pokemon is attached, it has tackle attack. I forgot to attack. It can use the GX attack on this card. I'm curious. Did I have any tackle? Because I didn't even notice like what I was reading. I thought it had to be used on a GX rather than reading that it gets a GX attack. Do you remember any of your Pokemon having tackle? There we go. Heracross has the tackle. So I could have used the Heracross, but that's 3 colorless. I'm just curious, like what else had tackle? See, that would have been hard to do anyways. To get normal on it, but it's cool. Basically, you can turn a creature or a Pokemon with tackle into like a GX version. For 4, it does barreling blitz. Flip a coin till you get tails. This attack does 40 more for each heads. Yikes! So if you get some good heads, you can do a lot of damage. Yeah. After dark. Mermaid's Call. Once you're in your turn, you may put a Misty's favorite card from your discard in your hand. I didn't have any Misty's cards, so that did no good. If depending Pokemon is basic, it can attack during your opponent's next turn. Next turn. So if you can get this set up. Hands up! Flip a coin. I didn't use any of these Scraggies. Welcome aboard. We are just doing some reviews of the pre-release Unified Minds tournament that we were in this last weekend. I was just going through the few cards. So this is the other card that a lot of people were using. So Frostlass with Servant or Snorront. That was the other. This is the other combo that people would use, where you would use the Icy Wind just to make him asleep, basically also to buy some time. But then Spiteful Sigh, this is where your big damage is. Put up to 7 damage counters. Sorry, you guys can't read it. Put up to 7 damage counters on this Pokemon. This attack does 20 damage for each damage counter you placed on it in this way. So if you set this up, let's say you have 70 counters on this, it'll do 140 damage. So pretty much can one-shot most of the Pokemon, as long as it's not a GX Pokemon on this in this format. At least all the major ones. Hey, Trigger. So that was the other one that people would play. So that one, I saw the poison one. It was a poison one that put you asleep and confused, and it left you there pretty much. You got stuck, confused, and poisoned. And then there was another one, another Pokemon that would come in, and if it had a condition like that on it, it would do extra damage. Lucario was a tag coach. Your tag team takes 20 less damage from your opponent's attack. And I didn't use the Gabite. I didn't have anything in there. But yeah, pretty much that kind of is it. The cards that I got. I ended up going just 3-3, 3-3-0. My son went actually 4-2, 4-2-0, so he did better than me. But it was fun. It was a good experience. And yeah, if you have any questions, please leave a comment. Let me know, or send me a message. Join my Discord. Send me a message if you have any questions about the pre-release, at least what I know or what I learned. And yeah, hopefully see you on stream sometime soon. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next time. Bulu out.